Bridgehampton race circuit is one of the more lesser-known tracks in all of racing, but if you ask locals on Long Island, this hallowed ground of Islander racing is legendary. Hello out there, we're on the air, and it's race day today on Long Island. It's a picturesque afternoon in Sag Harbor, New York, as we welcome you to the Bridgehampton race circuit for stop number 10 of the 2024 Flowmaster Grand Touring Championship, the Long Island Fall Classic. And a pleasant good afternoon to everybody tuning in to today's third to final race of the 2024 season, with live coverage being provided on the North American Sim Racing Network. And from high in the sky in the press box, my name is Trey Wright for the NASRN. 9 races down, 3 to go as the weather gets cooler here on the eastern side of the United States, with the leaves beginning to fall and every driver getting dialed in for the final trio of races in the inaugural season of FMGTC competition. And after a chaotic race in Thornton, Illinois last month that saw Zachary Fitzwater and Michael Brown take the top podium spots for GTLM and GTD respectively, the point standings have shifted quite a bit as we go into the points after 9 races starting. With GT Le Mans, Jaden Russell still holds the point lead in the number 8 machine, but Zachary Fitzwater hot on his heels in the 62. Fitzwater with a win is right behind Jaden Russell by 10 points. Russell with 590 points coming into today's race. Sebastian Palmer with a decent finish at Thornton rises up to third in the point standings, 25 behind the 8 machine. Blaze Zebratar, despite having mechanical issues late, still comes up to 4th in the number 3 car. And Akira Sada rounds out the top 5 for GT Le Mans. Eric Monaco, Riley Sampson, Nathan Orman, Reggie Fogelman, and Caleb Rose round out the top 10 in the point standings. Rose only 89 points behind that 8 machine in the 5 car. And again, going over the point system, first place gets 105 points, not including the laps led bonuses, most laps led, fastest lap, and all the bonuses, which are each 5 points. But first place is 105, second is 95, third is 90, all the way down to 20th and 21st, which are 5 points and 1 point respectively. So a lot of points to be gained here in these next 3 races. Jaden Russell is by no means safe in the 8 car. And talking about a driver that we thought was safe and is no longer the case, Dylan Matthews, who had a 50-point lead going into Thornton last month, sees that diminish all the way down to 20 points as we take a look at your GT Daytona point standings. After a horrifying crash on lap number 2 in Thornton, Matthews is still in the points lead, but is 20 points in front of Igor Beretta with a runner-up finish. In the Dollar General, Thornton 13, Colin Baer, John Stewart, and Dustin Davis round out the top 5. Michael Brown, who won that Thornton race, is in 6th, 64 points behind the 26 machine. Connor Monaco falls down to 7th. Daniel Bouchard, Blake Bavillier, and Logan Alexander round out the top 10. Alexander a full race's worth of points behind Dylan Matthews, so it's a little bit more spread out in GT Daytona than it is in GT Le Mans, but still, those top 3 positions with Matthews, Barretto, and Colin Baer, all of those drivers separated by 25 points going into the final trio of races. Matthews does start in the pole position in the 26 car today. Michael Brown starts next to her in the 25, as we'll go over the starting lineups in just a couple of moments. But again, Bridgehampton today, Autumn Hill on Thanksgiving, and Riverside on Christmas Day are all that remain in the 2024 slate before, of course, we wound them up again in Daytona in January for the second season of FMGTC competition. But that, of course, is in the new year, and this is right now, and it's once again that time of the broadcast again, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go down trackside, get the most famous words in motorsports to get things started here on Long Island.
Drivers, start your engines!
And the engines roar to life on the pit lane at Bridgehampton. We're just moments away from dropping the green flag for today's race. Bradley Ream and Blaze Zebratar make up row number 1 for GT Le Mans. Bradley Ream starting on the pole position in his white number 40 Boston Red Sox Corvette. Zebratar to his outside in his red number 3 Ace Hardware Jaguar, looking for a little bit of redemption after fumbling the bag late in the race in Thornton with a mechanical issue. Everybody rolls off of the pit lane. We'll go to GT Daytona, where, like we said in the pre-race show, they're led to green by that lady right there, piloting the number 26 UPS Freight Ford Mustang is Dylan Matthews, looking to extend her points lead going into Autumn Hills next month. Michael Brown in the number 25 CarQuest Auto Parts Dodge Viper, looking for 2 in a row to try to get up into this championship battle. In the number 25 machine, field will head onto the Millstone Straight. Taking a look at the track itself, it's a 2.85 mile, 13-turn course at Bridgehampton with stark changes in elevation, starting with a 2/3 of a mile long, wide open front stretch and leading into the most dangerous part of the course, the downhill handskin turn in turn 1. Watch out for drivers to have trouble with handskin right on the start. Then thundering up the Millstone Straight and uphill through Echo Valley before heading back down into the hairpin. One thing to mention on Echo Valley, as the field will enter it right now. This is the peak of the course, 130 feet above sea level. Right where their fire truck is the peak of the course. And heading all the way down to 0 feet above sea level, down at the bottom of the hairpin, with 130 feet of elevation change right here between the peak of Echo Valley and the bottom, the valley rather, of the hairpin, affectionately known as the light bulb. Of course, then heading back uphill on through the East Straight and through the Arden's turn in turn 13, completing a full lap around the nearly 3-mile long course here at Bridgehampton as the field goes through the hairpin. Like we said, about 13 stories in varying elevation at the track today, and it's 84 circuits making up today's distance. Pit window for both classes is between 30 and 32 laps, so only 2 stops are in order for today's race. A lot of these drivers have raced at Bridgehampton on the MVCS circuit, trying to get a win here in the FMGTC. Here in its inaugural race on Long Island. Underneath the Lowenbra Bridge, they go through the Eastern Straight. I'd like to thank everybody for tuning in to today's race. 3 races remain on the slate until we crown a champion on Christmas Day in Riverside. Chevy Corvette pace car will lead the field down the pit lane. There it goes, leading the field onto the front straightaway. Ream and Zebratar of Corvette and a Jaguar will lead this 42 car field to the green flag, and we are racing here in race number 10 on Long Island. And through Hanskin for the first time today, and everybody trying to get through nice and orderly, and around goes Zebratar. Aguirre Sato is around as well, and they are stacking it up in the back. Michelle Gavineau involved. A couple of Daytona cars went around as well. Oh, and Igor Barreto catching a piece of the 49. We saw Connor Monaco go around as well, and like we said right off the start, Hanskin is going to be a factor as more cars going around back in here through Millstone. Josh Harmon going around as well. Griffin Lynn was caught up in it. Trying to see where the 26 machine is, and she is right now all the way back in the front of this GT Daytona field, as we'll take a look at the replays now. And right off the start, a lot of things going sideways as Michelle Gavineau has stalled. It's going to be back-to-back races. Gavineau being caught up in an accident in the first corner, and she is going to be teleported back. Tough break for Daniel Voiles in the 56 as Bradley Ream will lead GTLM back onto the front straightaway to complete lap number 1 of today's race. I think it's only going to be 2 cars knocked out of contention, both in GT Le Mans. And for Michelle Gavineau, catastrophic last couple of races here. Remember, in the first half of the season, we touted that 12 machine to be a championship favorite. And now that's 2 straight races where she is going to finish down at the bottom of the barrel on the pylon, as Igor Barreto was also caught up. We saw Aguirre Sato, tough break for the man, 5th place in points. And for Igor Barreto, not what you want for that 14 car. He is going to have a lot of ground to make up if he wants to get back into this race. Sato might go a lap down here as for the race lead. Bradley Ream surrenders it to the 6 machine of Logan Williams, 2 drivers that were fighting for the MBCS championship. Earlier this month, Toby Murphy ultimately winning that one. It's been a tough season for Logan Williams. Other than the pole at Watkins Glen, it hasn't really been anything to write home about for this 6 machine. Right now, like we said, race all about the start and then just trying to cruise on over through these pit stops. Again, this is about a 2-hour-long race. So these guys are definitely going to be just trying to settle in here, not doing anything too stupid as Blaze Zebratar. He's got some damage, but he's not terribly off the pace. He's behind all the Daytona cars right now, as Gavinu is currently being towed back. Riley Sampson leaning on that 75 car. Oh, and Michael Brown and Zachary Fitzwater making some contact coming out of Hansgen. Checking back here with Jaden Russell, who will shuffle back in that fray. He started in 18th, currently running in 12th. So really shuffled forward there for the 8 car rather. Picking up a lot of well-needed positions in that U.S. Army Black Knights Corvette. And Zachary Fitzwater is just behind him. He's going to get around these Daytona cars. Meanwhile, the guy he's got to worry about right now, I don't know where Sebastian Palmer. There is Sebastian Palmer. He was actually caught up in that opening lap kerfuffle. Blaze Zebratar was caught up. Aguirre Sato was caught up. Eric Monaco, he was able to get through. Monaco right now. I do not see Eric Monaco. He's somewhere in here. There he is. Currently running P7. As pulling it behind the wall was Michelle Gavinu. She will only get 1 point for GT Le Mans. And like we said, right off of the start, these guys got to be careful, as nearly taking herself out there was Matthews running into Sampson. Sampson playing it aggressive on the inside, and Matthews having to basically check up there just a little bit. As Tatiana Nagora leads the way for GT Daytona. Nagora pretty much out of this championship fight. Currently 210 behind this 26 car points-wise. Just trying to get a good run. Got a decent run at Thornton last month. Trying to keep things going in that Viper. As the Daytona cars and the Le Mans cars will separate themselves for the time being. Logan Williams right now setting sail in that 6 car. Bradley Ream right behind him, and Roberto Crown Jr. A little bit of a partial 3 car breakaway. Mike Vincent Jr. and Nathan Orman round out the top 5. Igor Barreto tries to catch back up. It's going to be a long day for Barreto, but fortunately for him, we got a lot of action all around this racetrack, and a lot of these GTLM cars are stuck behind the GT Daytona cars, like Zachary Fitzwater and Blake Bavillier up front. Fitzwater will go to the inside of the slower GTD car. We'll see if he's able to make the pass stick down low. On the inside, Bavillier holding on. Contact between the two. Both of them go off course for a brief moment. And Bavillier is just going to let Fitzwater by. He knows that not only is he a faster LM car, he's also trying to get back up in here for this championship battle. Williams will continue to get set sail. Ramrod straight up at the front. Dylan Matthews starting to close in a little bit on Tatiana Nagora as they go into the hairpin for the 5th time under speed today. Again, it is a very, very long race here at Bridgehampton this afternoon, as Nathan Buchanan right on the back end of this 26 car is being pushed by Zachary Fitzwater from behind. Fitzy is able to do anything. Trying to get around this 99 car. He's still got a lot of work to do to get back in front as Jaden Russell just falling off a pace just a little bit from the faster LM cars. As trying to go underneath for second was Roberto Crown Jr., the highest running Toyota on the grid right now. The other one being Caleb Rose in the 5. Trying to get through there is the 33. Logan Williams has led all but 2 laps so far in this race. Fitzwater moving underneath the 99 as they'll go into turn number 3. The Colasante corner. Long sweeping corner before going into Echo Valley. Buchanan will tuck in behind Fitzwater. Fitzy starting to pick them off one at a time in the 62. Going back in here, talking a little bit about Connor Monaco, who was so on it to start off this season, but just really, really bad luck over the course of the last couple of races, and he might be put out of striking distance of this 26 car the way things stand right now. But again, this is Tatiana Nagora, surpassed by the 26 of Dylan Matthews. Pretty much just putting an exclamation point on the point I was trying to make. Dylan Matthews is going to get 5 bonus points this time by for leading a lap as Fitzwater will get around this 22 machine, trying to get the 2-for-1 special going into turn 1. Might be a little dangerous for Fitzwater. He'll get around the 22. See if he's able to get a ledge on the 26. He is, and contact made, and around goes the 26. The points leader for GT Daytona, getting turned around by Zachary Fitzwater. And the commentators curse, striking 2 races in a row for Dylan Matthews. Thankfully, she wasn't skewered like she was in the last race. But oh boy, Zachary Fitzwater making no friends out here. And for the lead for GTD, Nathan Buchanan will get past. That's good for Igor Barreto as Dylan Matthews once again getting shipped around. Only losing a handful of spots. She was in first. And now moving back to about 9th. So only losing 9 spots there. Was the 26, so it's not worst case scenario. She's still in front of most of her competition, sans Colin Bear. But Bear is 25 points behind the 26 right now, or the way that things stand, Bear would only be 10 to 15 behind. But that was ugly for Dylan Matthews, as you saw on the replay. As Nathan Buchanan will lead the Daytona field through a handskin once again. Got to be careful with these faster GT Le Mans drivers getting around the 26, and they're going to hold off for now. Matt Lagacy going wide. He might be split between Durrani and Zebratar. Zebratar is going to hold off in the 3 machine. Meanwhile, Logan Williams, who started this race in 3rd, has built himself about a 2-second lead over Roberto Crown Jr. 2 drivers, like we said, way out of the thick of it. The bottom 2 drivers in the point standings for GT Le Mans. Rather, the bottom 3 drivers for GTLM right now in the podium, inverse of how they are. Logan Williams is last, he's first. Second to last in the points is Crown Jr., he's second. And third to last in the points is Bradley Ream, and he is in 3rd. You can't make this up. This is NR 2003 at its finest, with just silly little tidbits like this. As Sebastian Palmer looks to get around Dylan Matthews. Palmer and Fogelman caught up on the opening lap chaos in turn 1. As Fogelman will move underneath the 71 of Logan Alexander. Finished 3rd in Thornton last race. Trying to get through there, contact made, and off goes the 71 machine. He's hard into the woods. And that'll be the end of the competitive day for Logan Alexander, and Dylan Matthews thanking her lucky stars that it wasn't her once again. And it's been a rough go for Logan Alexander so far this season. 110 points behind Dylan Matthews in the points, and he is going to fall even further, potentially out of championship contention, officially, mathematically rather. Here in these next couple of races, as Bradley Ream has gotten around Roberto Crown Jr. for the second spot in GT Le Mans. 3 cars right on top of one another, all fighting for second. Logan Williams has brought a warhorse out here, looking to get Jaguar their second win this season. He'll dive through the corner. Checking back in here with Caleb Rose, one of the 2 Toyotas on the grid today. Into that 5 machine. Closing in on the third of the way mark through the opening set of pit stops. We'll see if Reggie Fogelman makes contact with Colin Bear. Bear going a little wide off the corner, and he'll back it down wide as well. Same thing with Dylan Matthews. She's able to gather up and go in before any chaos can ensue in turn 1 once again. Again, I don't know. It's just that one corner of the track. It's probably because it's downhill at about a 3% grade. That doesn't sound like much, but 3% on a hill just that short and going immediately into a right-hander, that's just a recipe for disaster. For cars getting loose, you're seeing them hang the left side, the left rear tire off the ground like they're just hanging 10 off of a surfboard. So ultimately what you're going to get is Logan Alexander will come onto the service area, and already lap traffic in the fray of this 6 machine. Igor Beretta, who was caught up in the opening lap wreck. Come on, same thing with Aguirre Sato. And they are the 2 closest cars to being a lap down through Hanskin. The 6 and the 14 will go. And Beretta was just going to let Williams pass him going into the Colasante corner. Might have a quick edge there, but damaged GT Daytona car is no match for a clean GT Le Mans car. So go through Echo Valley for the 11th time today under speed. And Logan Williams with a little bit more space between himself and Bradley Ream, as Ream and Crown Jr. will continue to fight for second place. Everybody putting a little bit of distance between themselves and Mike Vincent Jr. These second and third place cars pass Barretto on the front straightaway. Might be a little while for those guys, as Josh Harmon is in down the pit lane once again. Remember, he was caught up in the wreck as well. Don't believe there's any mechanical issues on that 88 machine, as this might get a little dicey going through Hanskin down into here. And no, it's a little close between Crown Jr. and Barretto is actually going to get that spot back away. Crown Jr. will go to the inside going through Colasante as we check back in with GT Daytona. Nathan Buchanan in the 99 car, third to last in the point standings. Trying to just get a nice win here. Trying to see, 26. What happened to Dylan Matthews now? Dylan Matthews caught up with another incident, I believe. I think she might have gone around again. We'll take a look at the replay. Maybe that's who got caught up with Josh Harmon there in the 88. And what was starting off to be a promising day for Dylan Matthews quickly going sour. As she has fallen all the way back to about 15th in GT Daytona. Tough break for Dylan Matthews in the 26. But again, long way to go, long way to get there, still plenty of race to go. As Jaden Russell continues to put some distance between himself and Zachary Fitzwater. Again, Seb Palmer having issues early on in the race. I don't see where Seb Palmer is. Palmer will track back for him in just a couple of moments. As Aguirre Sato next up on the chopping block for Logan Williams to pass. There's Seb Palmer. It's a bunch of GT Daytona and GT Le Mans cars in front of him, all going through Hansgen. Fogelman just trying to cut through the Daytona field. He is up to Juan Rodriguez, who currently sits 6th on the GT Daytona pylon. Trying to make his way back through. It's been a rough go for your Daytona 2.4 hours winner, but luckily for him, in a couple months, we'll be back in Daytona. We'll start things off once again for season number 2 of the FMGTC. So the rest of the Le Mans field will get around this 14 machine. There is Felipe Santos, your Old Spice winner. Trying to get around him down going into Hansgen. Will do so with ease. Beretta moving back to the inside. Heads up contact. Santos off the road. And Santos will lose 2 positions. One of those going to Jaden Russell in the 8 car. That'll be 5 more points to the 8 machine. Can never trust these guys going through turn 1, like we've said all day long. And we're only on lap 14 of 84. Palmer trying to get around as well. Stapleton will hang 2 off. Ooh, a little close between Lagasse and Zebratar. Zebratar moving through the corner. There's Dano Georgi underneath Mike Vincent Jr. This is the battle for 4th place right now, as Georgi and Monaco will get around Vincent Jr. So that'll put the 78 machine back into 6th. Logan Williams continues to show the way. See what the lead is this time around as Josh Harmon finally off of the pit lane. I think it's going to be a lot bigger of a lead, and it is. 3 seconds is the advantage for Logan Williams right now, as he is quickly catching up to Aguirre Sato. I don't know what they got in that car. Probably put some muscle milk in that Jaguar is what they did here on lap 15, officially halfway through the opening fuel and tire run here today. Sebastian Palmer moves underneath Brooke Paquette. Their 4th position all the way on the back end of your screen. You saw the 26 machine. It's Paquette and Palmer. Palmer got a little shot going into 1. They'll get through. There's Connor Monaco on it once again. Monaco goes wide. He's able to keep it. And this is the point in the race as Mike Vincent Jr. quickly hemorrhaging positions in the 78. Don't see anything mechanically wrong with the unsponsored Corvette, but he has been losing a lot of positions so far. As he loses 2 more here, it's going to be 3 more. I don't know if he might try to pull it down the pit lane, and he will. So some sort of issue on that 78. And Vincent Jr., who came in today's race 110 behind Jaden Russell on the point standings, probably going to go down even further in the standings as well. Tough break for that number 78 team. It's getting around the stricken Sato is the 6 of Williams. Good run for Williams so far. Still a long way to go in mechanical failures, especially with the loads these cars going to have going up and down the hills of Long Island all afternoon long. It's going to be a lot of these cars. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It's definitely a lot on these cars. Let's go up and down the hills all day long. A 3-mile track for 84 circuits. About a 250-mile odd race here today. Logan Williams looking to lead every single lap so far. For GT Le Mans, scratch that, Bradley Ream led the opening lap, and then ever since then, it's been the Logan Williams show. But he's lost about a third of a second to the 40 and the 33. Of course, that was trying to get around the 49 machine. Bradley Ream getting it around Sato, going through 3. Through Millstone they go. He will, so will Roberto Crown Jr. Those two continue to stay tucked into one another. Out and away is the 78 machine, a 14.53 second stop, so I believe it was just a tire going down for Mike Vincent Jr. as he'll fall all the way back. Along with Dylan Matthews, only 36 cars on the lead lap right now. Mike Vincent Jr. falling to 36th on the pylon. '18th for GT Le Mans. I mean, Vincent Jr. is pretty much out of it as Igor Barreto having an issue in the 14 machine. He went around in that Valvoline car. Not sure if Vincent Jr. had anything to do with that. We'll take a look at the replay now. Griffin Lynn was just trying to have a good day running around behind Connor Monaco. Dylan Matthews deep in the field as well. The way the things stand, Colin Bear would have the points lead. I believe that'd be the first time in at least, I want to say the last 3 races, but I believe it's probably the 4 or 5 mark that Dylan Matthews hasn't been in the points lead. She has been up in the top 3 ever since winning at Papyrus, and she has just been the definition of consistency. But apart from these last 2 races, she has been really, really strong. A little pass through the dirt there for Brooke Paquette. She'll go to the point and for the race lead in GT Daytona. Tatiana Nagora right on the back end of Nathan Buchanan. I believe she's got a little bit of a stronger of a long run car as we approach the quarter of the way point through today's race. Nagora right on the back end of this 99. She's going to have Sebastian Palmer right on her 6 trying to get around her. We'll see if Palmer and Nagora work together. Try to get around Nathan Buchanan. A Chevrolet trying to help a Dodge get around a Ford. I would not be surprised about that in the slightest. Nagora is backing up to the rear end of this 20. He's moving to the outside of Nagora, going up the Eastern Straight. Michael Brown actually going to try to take position. Taking advantage of this 20 car. No, he'll tuck right back behind this Napa Corvette. Back to a 3-second lead for Logan Williams as Nagora's backed off Buchanan just a little bit, going into corner number 1. There are the Hansgen turn in turn number 2. Going wide is Nagora, saying thank you very much for that position. Will be the 20 machine. He'll get around this Stewart's Dodge Viper, saying his sights on the Menards number 99 Corvette, rather Ford Mustang of Nathan Buchanan. And I don't want to say it's all over but the crying in GT Le Mans, but a 3-second lead over Bradley Ream is what Logan Williams has got right now. And we'll just show you the distance of that 3-second lead. It's not much on the track. But given all the chaos that we had in the opening stages of this race, just a little bit of breathing room between yourself and the competition, of course, the lap down cars, is all that this 6 car could ask for. So he goes through Colasante. Rather, that was through the Millstone corner. Now he's through Colasante and his closest competition. Lap down wise, Griffin Lynn about 1.5 miles in front of him. Brad Stover with the 78 machine right on his butt. On older tires is Mike Vincent Jr., rather newer tires. Trying to get around this 66 machine. Willow Springs winner trying to get around the Mexico City winner with the Papyrus winner right behind all 3 of these guys. 2 of these guys for a trio. Stover trying to pin it back down to the inside. No, he's not. He's going to make contact with Dylan Matthews, and aggressively gaining another position is that 26. Saw a couple pieces fly off. The mirror, a little ding there in that UPS Mustang. But I think given all the BS she's had to endure in this race so far, Dylan will gladly take an additional 5 points as he tries to get back up to Colin Bear. Into the 9 machine. Gaining 0.2 of a second there was Ream over Logan Williams as it go through the corner once again. Officially a quarter of the way through today's race, 9 laps away from the opening set of pit stops. Typically we do about 30 to 40 laps of action here on the MBCS side of things. Buchanan under fire from Sebastian Palmer, as GT Daytona's leaders will catch up as Blaze Zebratar will head down the pit lane for repairs, I would imagine. Palmer is around the 99. These guys got to be careful going in through here. Tatiana Nagora goes off track and into the woods. Around goes the 22. She was running in second for GT Daytona. And off to the side, the 7 of Nathan Stapleton. Nagora's day will end on lap 21. See the damage on that 7 machine to the mirror. Nagora is able to get back into the race, but she is heavily damaged, as Blaze Zebratar will go down a lap. And Nathan Orman having an issue as well in the 4. He was running up towards the front of the field in GT Le Mans. I believe he was running in about 6th or 7th, as Blaze Zebratar will come back out onto the track. Samson and Santos right next to him. Samson off course, and he'll lay down a little bit for Felipe to get past him in the 64. That's why you want to be in Logan Williams' position right now. Running your own race. Nothing but clean air in front of you. This 4 car is a little bit closer in front. A little bit more behind, rather. But again, doesn't look like there's any damage on Orman. I think he just got a little bit carried away off the corner. As Nathan Stapleton down onto the pit lane, he's going to make some repairs in that 7. Same thing with Nagora. 4 tire stop for Stapleton, including repairs. Igor Barreto out and away. And like we said in the pre-race show, Hansgen turn is going to be the trouble corner all afternoon long. We've seen it a lot so far today, especially in GT Daytona, especially on the start for GT Le Mans. And leading by a pretty wide margin right now, Nathan Buchanan in the 99. Trying to see, that's the gap between first and second for GT Daytona. Gauge maybe about 2 seconds between those two. lot of traffic coming up front. A little bit there for Logan Williams. 3 Daytona cars all in line, but I believe that Williams is probably going to end up pitting before he catches up to these GTD cars. Only 2 cars out of this race so far. Both of them in GT Le Mans. Contact between Bouchard and Durrani as Durrani will thunder his way to the inside of the Ottawa, Ontario native. Josh Harmon 4 laps down. Believe it. Unless somebody wrecks out in GT Daytona, I think it's safe to say that Harmon is going to end up being last for the slower Daytona class. 4 laps down, and it's not what you want. Definitely not what you want there. Going back to Dylan Matthews, who is sitting deep in the field for GTD. Colin Bear, like we said, is likely going to be this points leader for Daytona the way that things stand right now. John Stewart right behind him, and Stewart was 50 points behind Dylan Matthews coming into today. So about 10 positions back. Stewart will be 25 behind Matthews. And Bear is only going to lead by, I think, maybe 5 points over Matthews if things stay the same that they do right now. But again, we've seen. I don't see any Le Mans cars behind these Daytona guys in the back other than Nathan Ormond. Ormond's not going to catch up to these guys until a little bit later. See what's what. All you got to do is just see what is what. So Nagora falls back in the 22. Zachary Fitzwater deep in the field as well. Just a pretty big margin away from Felipe Santos on the tail end of this field as Igor Barreto continues to fall through the field after his incident. Barreto's also going to fall on the points as well. Santos trying to get around this 14 machine. Barreto's actually going to get around the 36 as Riley Sampson and Santos continue to battle for 10th in GT Le Mans. Williams is trying to catch up to Nathan Ormond. But again, Ormond hasn't had any issues in this race other than just spinning around off of turn 1, we presume. Even then, I think there would be some damage. I don't know if Ormond maybe had to make an unscheduled pit stop. Ooh, back in here, Vincent Jr. going wide through the corner. Contact made, and off track going Juan Rodriguez. Can he save it? He indeed can, but that's right in front of the 72. Rodriguez will fall back a couple of positions in the 75. Tough break for Rodriguez, who was battling for 3rd. And he'll fall back to 7th in that foray, but a good save out of Rodriguez if we take another look at it. Vincent Jr. underneath Nathan Buchanan. Buchanan with a 2.5 second advantage over Michael Brown. Ooh, Brown, if he's able to get 2 wins in a row, that would be awesome. For this 25 car as well is Dustin Davis. High in the pack as well, 55 points behind the 26 car coming into today's race. He's going to gain some ground over Dylan Matthews the way that things stand. Of course, Matthews led a lap, and she was able to get the pole, so that'll be 10 bonus points. As Juan Rodriguez, you see the rear end damage on that 75, and he'll go down the pit lane. Tough break for the 75 machine as Connor Monaco will head down as well. I don't know if it's to repair a little bit of damage on that Cohen Truck Line Inc. Mustang, We'll see what it is. Monaco is down the pit lane. Williams will go past. See how far Monaco might be repairing damage as well. Out and away 75, a 24-second pit stop. Monaco is out. That was Rodriguez that came out. Monaco out as well. Similar timed pit stop. I believe Monaco also just had some repairs he wanted to make and figured he might as well make his pit stop here. A little bit of an undercut for the 21. He's already in the back of the pack, just trying to run his own strategy. Hey, I applaud it. Zachary Fitzwater is down to make his first pit stop of the afternoon. See if he tries to repair a little bit of damage in the 62. There comes a 20. Past the pit lane. 4 tires going all the way around for this 62 machine. Buchanan will stay out. And Fitzy also just repairing the door a little bit there in the 62. He'll be out and away. So just trying to kill 2 birds with 1 stone on this opening set of stops. That does beg the question of when these drivers will eventually come down here. Lead lap-wise as Fitzwater's out and away in front of Griffin Lynn. Lynn was going wide through the corner. Don't know if he and Brad Stover may have gotten together. If there's a replay of an incident, we'll show it. But picking them back off one at a time is Dylan Matthews. She's caught up to the tail end of the Daytona field. Daniel Bouchard, who's dropped back about 3 positions in the 8 car. First car in line to get around this 26. Checking back up in here for GT Le Mans. And oh, Logan Williams with an issue. And it's a flat tire for Logan Williams. Right as he passed under the start-finish line, he is abnormally slow. And the dominant car of the afternoon just trying to limp it back to the pits. Tough break for Logan Williams. Oh, you gotta hate it. He has had no luck this season. And that car, that tire rather, is just completely ripped to shreds. I tell you, this six team has just no luck whatsoever. Juan Rodriguez is going to get around him. Oh, man, you got to hate it. That happened right as he was crossing under the start-finish line. And just slowly trundling around is this 6 car. Saw it back in here, so now this is the battle for the race lead. Ream back out front with Roberto Crown Jr. right behind him. Caleb Rose is down the pit lane here on lap 29. Same thing the 6 will go. See what ground Logan Williams is able to make up here. He's able to make his pit stop now. That's good for Williams. But he comes out. Rather, he's still coming down the pit lane a long way down for this 6 car. So Nathan Buchanan will come down the pit lane. Blake Bavillier will elect to stay out a lap. New race leader for GT Daytona, Bavillier will lead a lap. As Logan Williams will go off the jack and he is back out. We'll see how the undercut ends up playing for these drivers. Got a long line of cars back in here. Fitzwater and Orman in the middle of this GT Daytona gridlock. Go back for GT Le Mans right in time. Leaders coming down. Eric Monaco will stay out a lap. Coming into the pits is the 40 and the 33. We'll see if anybody else elects to come down. Riley Sampson will come down. A little bit of an undercut for the Le Mans leaders. Crown Jr. is in. Pole sitter for this race. Looking to go wire to wire is Bradley Ream. He is into the pit lane. Looking to get a 4-tire stop here in this 40. Santos is down. Same thing with Aguirre Sada, who is off sequence. Ream will win out. Same thing with a 33, as those two will remain nose to tail coming out of the pits. Reggie Fogelman, Sebastian Palmer will make their initial stops of the afternoon. Caleb Rose coming out in the 5 car, a little bit behind everybody in GT Le Mans. Same thing for everybody back in here. A little gridlock between the Daytona drivers. This feeding time on the pit lane for GT Daytona. Dustin Davis will stay out an extra lap to get a bonus point. Same thing for the 26 of Matthews. Matthews and Logan Williams will race together going into Hansgen. They'll stay off of one another for now, as Matthews will go up to second for GT Daytona. Micah Knapp, second one off. Blake Bavillier will lead the feeding time off of the pit lane for GTD. Back here for GT Le Mans, Skylar Taylor, Eric Monaco leading everybody down. Taylor is down. This is everybody for GT Le Mans, and everything should cycle back around. Once these guys come back out, Mike Vincent Jr. is off strategy. He's back onto the front straightaway. First car on strategy is the 40 of Bradley Ream, and we'll see where everybody comes out in relation. Ream with a full head of steam down the front straightaway. Monaco is going to come out in third, a little bit behind the 40 car. Vincent Jr. will have the race lead, but don't let that fool you. He's got about 15 lap older tires than everybody, and that should cycle everything out once Dustin Davis hits the pit lane, and here he comes. Same thing with Michael Brown. Brown actually staying out of the 25 to get a bonus point lead. Same thing with Davis, and now the 26 will make her pit stop. Lynn will come down on the 1 machine as well, and for the race lead in GT Daytona. All by himself there is the 99 of Nathan Buchanan, a huge lead over Blake Bavillier, and that should cycle everything out. Buchanan will go to the point. Brown and Davis off the pit lane. Bavillier will take second away. Matthews trying to gain as much ground as she can, but she's going to see everybody race past her on the pit lane. A tough break for Matthews. Right now, shaking everything out. Vincent Jr. will get a couple of laps led here as he comes up on the 2 factory cars for GT Daytona. Three-car battle. This is the battle for 5th place between Georgi Russell and Owen Miles. These guys got to be careful. Going into corner number 2. Right on top of one another. Does Russell make a move? Neither 3-car makes a move going into 2. Logan Williams, he's going to end up in front of the 6 and the 20 and the 7. So it's not worst case scenario, but again, all the way marred back in 14th. The dominant driver of the day. Tough break for Logan Williams, and could take a 2-tire pit stop next time these guys come around. But now we're going to start to see the lap traffic come out to play. Lap 32 of 84, still not at the halfway point in the race. We are getting close, about 10 and a half laps away from the midway point. He's getting around the stricken Sato machine as Logan Williams, who is just trying to pick up as much as he can. Dominating the early part of this race. Mike Vincent Jr. will come down the pit lane. He'll surrender the lead to Bradley Ream. And now it's Ream's job to try to get around these 2 Daytona cars. Colin Bear is down the pit lane once again. Bear is going to be a lap down. Not sure what the deal is for the 09, but that might give Dylan Matthews a position back as George I will slip back to 6th. Make that 7th place for George I. It's Bradley Ream picking off the Dodge factory cars one at a time. He's gotten around Logan Alexander. Can he get around Harmon? Before going back through turn number 1, he's to the inside of Harmon. He'll have the preferred line going down into the hairpin. Harmon just trying to let him by. Now 2 cars between the 40 and the 33. Crown Jr. trying to slip around this 71. He's going to lose a little bit of time to Bradley Ream as he'll set sail in the Red Sox Corvette. Of course, we got a lot more lap traffic up in here that Bradley Ream is going to have to deal with. He's got pretty much the entire GT Daytona field back in here as Michael Brown will slip behind Brooke Paquette. Nathan Buchanan continues to pilot the way for GT Daytona. Always fun to see these Le Mans cars get around the slower Daytonas as, oh boy, gotta be a little careful there going through the corner as Roberto Crown Jr., but he's able to get through nice and easily. Losing quite a bit of time. About a 2-second gap between the 40 and the 33 going into lap 34. Next up on the chopping block, Tatiana Nagora, and that is pretty much the start of a long line of cars that Bradley Ream is going to have to get around here. Sato down the pit lane once again. Not the day that he wanted for the man who started in 4th. Nagora now not within striking distance just yet of the 40, but Ream is definitely closing in. Helps that she's got a lot of rear end damage on the 22 machine. But now you see all the cars that Bradley Ream has got in front of him. Got 2 stricken GT Daytonas, and then a little bit harder to pass these guys like Griffin Lynn, and add Aguirre Sato to that list. But here he goes, starting to pick him off one at a time underneath Nagora. Nagora leaning on him. She's going to get into Bradley Ream, and the leader for GT Le Mans is knocked out. Well, who didn't see that one coming? I didn't. Rather, we did. And every single car that has started in the first 2 rows of this race having issues today, and Bradley Ream is going to go from hero to 0 in 0.2 of a second flat. And well, we knew that was coming. Nagora teleporting to the pit lane, and Bradley Ream's unfortunate bad luck season is going to add another chapter of misery. At least Logan Williams can say that he's kept his car clean so far. But Bradley Ream has torn up a lot of race cars in that 40 machine. And now that begs the question, is the 33 will get around the 14. This is going to be one heck of a task that these Le Mans cars are going to have getting around these slower Daytonas. We check back in with Ream, trying to see where he is. Still falling all the way down, and both dominant drivers for GT Le Mans having issues with one another. As Zachary Fitzwater back down the pit lane in the 62, an unscheduled stop for Fitzy. That'll be another position in favor of the 6, as back in the top 10 is Logan Williams. Now Eric Monaco trying to get around this 14 machine. Oh boy. This is why I love GT racing so much, is because of how unpredictable it is. With GT Daytona getting in the way of GT Le Mans, Again, that is why lap traffic is one of the best inventions mankind has ever made for racing. Because, again, the leader's got to do some passing every once in a while. And you never know what is ever going to happen here in the Flowmaster Grand Touring Championship. Ream is on the pits. He was able to make it back, but that is a lot of rear-end damage on that 40 car. 2 in the 45 are able to get around the 14. We're going to watch in here as Jaden Russell tries to get around. He is not even going to try to avoid getting around this 14 going through turn number 1. He knows how much this corner is eating up drivers all day today. The 2 factory fielded Dodges nearly making contact with one another, and Ream is back out there. Don't know if Bradley's going to lose a lap. He's actually going to get out ahead of Logan Williams. Williams is going to end up passing this 40 car eventually, so we'll move. Only losing 9 positions is Bradley Ream. That is not terrible. I mean, again, going from the lead to 9th is pretty bad, but after just completely destroying your car on a tree, only falling to 9th is not terrible. But approaching the midway point in today's race, it has been a good one so far. As we'll see how Roberto Crown Jr. gets around lap traffic. He's in the same boat that Bradley Ream was, but he has got a huge lead over Eric Monaco for the time being right now. Brad Stover back in here. Approaching the midway point in today's race as all these drivers just hang in the rear end of the car. Off that course, there goes Owen Miles. Can he save it? Dano Georgi cannot. Georgi broadside on the track. Miles able to gather it back in going. Georgi able to gather it back as well. Tough break for the Mexico City winner. Running in 6th at the time. That was the battle for 5th. Somehow gaining a position there out of all of that was Owen Miles. Actually, he will remain in 5th, but he might have to come down the pit lane for repairs. That's tough. That's a tough pill to swallow. I'm not gonna lie. Logan Williams will catch up to Bradley Ream. Again, I cannot wait for Autumn Hill, and I cannot... Oh, boy. Here's Roberto Crown Jr. I was going to say I can't wait for Riverside with whatever the hell that race is going to bring, but here's Roberto Crown Jr. trying to pick off the 60 car. Lagacy just trying to lay by. He might try to do the crossover going into 1. Crown Jr. through the corner. Trying to go underneath the 1 car. Lynn, oh boy, those 2 nearly colliding and taking each other out. But that's that. Lagacy trying to pick up a position on Lynn as Monaco and company will close in ever so slightly onto Roberto Crown Jr. Back in here for GT Daytona, Buchanan continues to hold sizable lead over Blake Bavillier. It's a really big lead at that. Underneath the Lowenbrough Bridge is the 99. We'll see how far that 99 is from the 1 car, the 11 car. Pretty much about a quarter of a mile there for the 99 of Buchanan. Fitzwater wide through the corner. Right in front of Josh Hartman. He's trying to make some evasive maneuvers. Eric Monaco has caught up to Griffin Lynn and Matt Lagacy. This could be dicey. 3 Le Mans cars trying to get around 2 Daytona cars. Monaco trying to make the pass before going into 1 and 2. Through the Hansgen he goes. He's gotten around the 1. Trying to get around the 60. Contact made. Monaco somehow able to keep that 40 machine straight. Rather, that 2 machine. Thinking of Bradley Ream. Good driving from Monaco. Aggressive driving, but good. As Ream will fall outside of the top 10. Logan Williams back in. He's 25 seconds behind the leaders. Which, again, if these guys drop like flies, lap down car-wise, then it very well could happen. Fastest lap of the race belonging to Roberto Crown Jr., who's trying to lead the most laps. And Brooke Paquette holds the fastest lap for GT Le Mans. Approaching the halfway point in today's race. Approaching lap 42 of 84. As this is the battle for third right now. Rather, this is the battle for third as Jaden Russell able to get around Skylar Taylor. Points leader for GT Le Mans gets around Taylor. The crossover, no, she will not. And as Roberto Crown Jr. will close in on the rest of the GT Daytona field, we're going to quickly go to break here. Live for the Bridgehampton Race Circuit, you are watching Flowmaster Grand Touring Championship action. Live from the North American Sim Racing Network. We'll be back in just a couple of moments, folks.
25 years of design and thousands of man-hours on product development. Flowmaster measures real performance where it matters most. Delivering the power you want, Flowmaster's complete family of performance mufflers outperforms any other street muffler with a sound and tone that's right for your vehicle.
Check out our website, flowmastermufflers.com.
20 people didn't change the steering ratio, so I'll do this once.
We have issues.
Whopper, 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 Whopper.
And we're back live for the second half of the Long Island Fall Classic, live from the Bridgehampton Race Circuit in Sag Harbor, New York. Trey Wright on the call. Take a look at Roberto Crown Jr. leading the way in GT Le Mans. A couple of Daytona cars held up in front of everybody else in GT Le Mans, trying to get around Jaden Russell. Boxed in between Ryan Durrani and Eric Monaco. And that is the battle for second right now for GT Le Mans. Top 5 for GTLM, Crown Jr., Russell, Monaco, Skylar Taylor, and Riley Sampson, who was able to claw his way back up to 5th after being caught up in the opening lap chaos, split off from the main pack for the most part, and back here for the second half of today's race. He's going to have a shot at a top 5 finish. Here in GT Le Mans, we'll flip back to GT Daytona, where it is still been the Nathan Buchanan show for the majority of today's race. Currently a 4-second lead over Blake Bevillier and the 56 machine of Micah Knapp. Knapp, the only 56 car remaining on the track, the other 56 from GT Le Mans. Daniel Voiles being caught up in the opening lap chaos. 3 cars out of this race, 2 of them from the opening lap wreck with Gavinou and Voiles. And Tatiana Nagora caught up with Bradley Ream. An incident about 15 laps ago when Ream was in the lead, giving said lead to Roberto Crown Jr. And that is where we stand right now. Bradley Ream currently running all the way down in the 35th spot on the pylon. '18th right now in GTLM. And Caleb Rose has gone off track in the 5. He was battling along with the 64 of Felipe Santos, and just a little wide off track goes the 5 machine. Tough break for Caleb, and the other Toyota on the grid right now. The other one leading the race being the 33 of Roberto Crown Jr. Logan Williams, who dominated the first quarter of this race before blowing a tire, falling back to 10th on the grid. Aguirre Sato, who was caught up in the opening lap mess, being lapped right now by Felipe Santos, who didn't even get a lap in last month in Thornton. Same thing for Michelle Gavinou, and in 2 races in a row, Gavinou wrecking out, not even completing a single corner in that 12 machine. Heavy lap traffic in front of Jaden Russell. He's trying to make it 3 wide underneath Connor Monaco. Ooh, Nathan Ormond making some contact with Juan Rodriguez, as Ormond is currently a lap down after having an issue in the first lap of the race. A 3-second lead at the moment for Roberto Crown Jr. over Jaden Russell, and Russell now with a little bit of space between himself and Eric Monaco. Points as they run right now. Jaden Russell have a lot over Zachary Fitzwater. He would open up his points lead. Trying to find where the 62 car is. I forget. Fitzwater is all the way down in 15th. So 15th for Fitzwater would give him 30 points. So that would be about a 55-point swing, or a 60-point swing in favor of Jaden Russell, and that would make him the favorite to win the championship going into Autumn Hill. You see Zachary Fitzwater, who's getting around the 40 machine. It's not for position. His third to last in GT Le Mans is Bradley Ream, is currently the last car in GTLM left. Actually, the second to last, Aguirre Sato, is 2 laps down. He is currently last of the active cars in GTLM. Dylan Matthews in the 26. Next one up on the chopping block for Roberto Crown Jr. to try to get around Alex Lozano, who's been able to get around him nice and easily. Going through corner number 3. Rather, that was corner number 4, the Colasante corner, and Echo Valley. He's able to get around Dylan Matthews. Matthews right now running 8th in GT Daytona. Good news for her. Colin Bear running deep in the field for GT Daytona. He is currently '16th in GTD. Igor Barreto is 17th in GT Daytona as well. One person she's got to really worry about now are Dustin Davis and John Stewart. Currently running just inside the top 10. 6th and 7th, the 72 and the 98 car are respectively, as those two swap positions. Dylan Matthews is a lap down, as she will fall into the clutches of Nathan Orman. Alex Lozano and Daniel Bouchard under fire from the GT Le Mans drivers. It's Monaco and Skylar Taylor way loose through the corner goes the A&W number 45. Toyota has not won yet this season. They're the only manufacturer who's not gone to Gatorade Victory Lane yet in 2024, which would make sense because there's only 2 Toyotas on the grid, both the 33 and the 5. Check back and see where Caleb Rose ended up. He's still in 9th with Logan Williams hot on his heels. That's the battle for the top 10 in GTLM. Taking a look here at Dustin Davis in the 72. Crown Jr. will catch up to him. 17 laps into this pit strategy, so midway home through this pit cycle. Nathan Buchanan is down the pit lane. Not sure if there was an issue with the 99, but he is down for a pit stop. Remember, he came down a little bit early in the 99 machine. 15-19 off of the gun. I'm a little perplexed on why that 99 car is coming down the pit lane. These guys can do about 30 laps, which means he's going to be about 7 laps short to the good, the way the things stand right now. It's a bold strategy, Cotton. I don't know if that would pay off or not, if he's just going to try and stretch as much fuel as he can. But that will give the GT Daytona lead to Blake Bavillier as the top 3, all on top of one another for the Daytona class. And back in here, it's a traffic jam as Dustin Davis is holding up the GT Le Mans leader, though it's not really much big of a holdup, as both the 26 and the 43 holding up Jaden Russell in the 8. Skylar Taylor has gotten around Eric Monaco for 3rd. But a big traffic jam in front as Nathan Orman will get a lap back from the 33, and he tries to move underneath the 72. There was a tire going down for Buchanan. Tough break for him. Dustin Davis. If I'm Davis, I'm just letting this 33 car go by. Contact made. Slamming and banging his way through the lap down traffic is Roberto Crown Jr. as he will continue to cut his way through the field. He's underneath John Stewart. Now Brooke Paquette will get a little bit of a push going through Echo Valley from the 31 car. The lap traffic will never stop. Never a dull moment for these drivers as Buchanan will fall a lap down. And he is currently one of the last few cars on the tail end of this GT Daytona grid, which makes sense. I'm very surprised at the strategy this early into the run. But then again, maybe he knows something that we don't. Maybe he's thinking he can stretch it, but lap 47, that is a lot to stretch. That is a lot to stretch fuel-wise. I just don't know if he can do it. Orman underneath Paquette. Paquette contact with the GT Le Mans leader. She's able to keep that Viper under control. So everybody will go through Hanskin once again, nice and loose. Crown Jr. has gotten around 4th place for GT Daytona. Top 3 for GTD on top of one another. The bottom 3 of the top 6 all on top of one another as well. Monaco trying to get around Lozano. He's trying to get back up into 3rd. Skylar Taylor will set her sights on this 8 machine. Crown Jr. just continues to pick them off one at a time. 45 laps to go in the Long Island Fall Classic. It's a lap down traffic, although it will never end. Thinning out a little bit for Roberto Crown Jr. He's going to get around Nathan Orman at some point. Orman is trying to run his race. He was able to get his lap back. Currently 21st on the pylon and 17th in GT Le Mans. Trying to see if any of the other Le Mans drivers have issues. We, of course, saw live what happened with Bradley Ream. Same thing for Logan Alexander, Tatiana Nagora. Still not sure what happened to Zachary Fitzwater, but it's not going to be 2 wins in a row for Fitzy, which will hurt him in the point standing. Same thing for Sebastian Palmer. Currently running 13th, Fitzwater 14th. And as long as Jaden Russell runs in this podium. He is going to extend his points lead over all of these drivers as the 2 points leaders. We're side by side for a brief moment. Now Skylar Taylor will put the 26 car under fire. Russell just trying to get more spots in between himself and the 45, but again, he's in probably the best position that you could ask for points-wise. Running in second. Leader is 3.5 seconds away. You know that you want the win, but just running these next 44 laps is the most important thing that you can do right now, as Russell just trying to push Brooke Paquette up to 4th. Looking for a ledge underneath her. Skylar Taylor is getting around this 26 car as the 8 will get around the 31. And the 2 tries to get around the 72. Taylor is around Dylan Matthews as Owen Miles will come down the pit lane. Remember, he had that good save in the early stint. For Hanskin they go, setting his sights onto John Stewart is the 8 machine. Taylor looking to find a way around this 31 car. Riley Sampson now behind the 2 machine. This is the battle for 4th. As Roberto Crown Jr. just laying off a little bit, he sees his competitors just fighting in lap traffic. So he knows that they're going to lose a little bit of time. He's not trying to book it. He's just trying to feather it a little bit. Now punching in the clutch. You hear him punching in the clutch instead of braking, going into the hairpin. Saving as much fuel, just trying to slow down a little bit. Just trying to run his race right now, not be aggressive, because again, we've seen aggressive goes around. We saw that with Bradley Ream. We saw that with so many different drivers today, especially going into those first set of corners aggressively. And that's going to, unfortunately, bite drivers in the rear end. He's going to eventually get around Bradley Ream as Igor Barreto comes into the pit area. Same thing with Blaze Zebratar, who is just trying to get to the end here. It's all you want to do, not be aggressive, make it to the next pit stop, and then just gun it, run your race, get around lap traffic when you need to, and you're just golden. Rose is down in the pit area. Same thing with Connor Monaco as second set of pit stops might be happening just a little bit earlier than we anticipated. Off the course goes Aguirre Sato. Logan Williams trying to get around this 49 car. Trying to repair the rear end just a little bit more there is the 3 of Zebratar, who started on the outside pole today and wasn't able to get anything going. Now this is where things are going to get a little interesting for Crown Jr. as Bradley Ream holding him up just a tad again. Crown Jr. has got a 5-second lead over Jaden Russell, so he can afford to lollygag just a little bit. Ream not letting this 33 car pass. Crown Jr. might be a little more stuck behind Ream than he would want to, but he's able to get underneath the stricken Red Sox Corvette and the pole sitter for this race will succeed to the current race leader. And now setting his sights on the top 3 cars in GT Daytona is your GT Le Mans leader. Bavillier still out front, getting a little push down the millstone straight from Ormond. Ormond will duck to the inside, going through Colasante. And he'll get around the 11. That'll open the door for Micah Knapp to now draw within striking distance of Bavillier. Working on 40 laps to go in the Long Island Fall Classic. All these drivers still need to make a pit stop as Griffin Lynn goes off course in the 1 machine. That was right in front of Mike Vincent Jr. and Reggie Fogelman. Both those drivers 9th and 10th on the pylon right now, and Griffin Lynn will continue to fall back in the 1 machine. Just trying to log laps in that 1 car. Logan Williams with Juan Rodriguez into the hairpin they go. Rodriguez on the inside preferred lane, but he's got the slower car. A little bit of damage on that 75. Logan Williams trying to look for a lane, and he'll go to the left side of that 75 machine. And getting around Michael Brown is this 33 car, about 5 hot laps away from the pit cycle. And Dano Georgi is going to come down in the 84. Might be a little earlier than we anticipated on this pit cycle as we work on lap number 55. The three fastest 4-tire pit stops today. Sebastian Palmer and Owen Miles, each with a 14.225 second stop. Brooke Paquette, 14.81 for GT Daytona. And looks like it's going to be repairing some damage there for the 84. He might have got involved with the 1. See a tiny little crumpled up left front fender on that Corvette, as he'll go out and away. Ryan Durrani underneath the 88. And now passing the second place car in GT Daytona is the GT Le Mans leader. 5 laps until the pit cycle will officially reopen. And the 2 leaders for GT Le Mans and GT Daytona will be on top of one another. Ryan Durrani and Josh Harmon colliding in turn 2. And that was right in front of both leaders as they go through, and Harmon's day is done. Durrani with a destroyed front end. And Harmon has got to travel all the way back around this racetrack. He is right in the middle of the racing line. This is going to get tight going into the corner. To the inside. Oh boy. Monaco just able to get around as Josh Harmon destroyed in the 88. As Harmon just trying to trundle around in that 88 car, and he'll pull it onto the asphalt and out of way. Tough break for Harmon, and like we said, happening right in front of the leaders. As speaking of the 2, right on the rear end of the GT Le Mans, GT Daytona leader is the GT Le Mans leader. Bevillier holding up the 33 just a tiny little bit. We'll see what the 33 does as Ryan Durrani teleporting back to the pit lane. Everybody else coming down to the inside of the Daytona leader goes Le Mans leader. Crown Jr. giving plenty of room to Bevillier, and Bevillier now behind the 33, and right on his rear end is Micah Knapp. Jaden Russell starting to make up for lost time. He is currently 2.5 behind the 33. But with the pit cycle looming ever so closely, 3 laps away from the cycle officially opening up, Reggie Fogelman is down, and we might see everybody hitting the pit lane soon. Maybe this lap or the next lap. Felipe Santos is off of the pit lane. 20 and the 59, still with the fastest 4-tire stops of the afternoon so far. A little bit of a slow stop for Reggie Fogelman as Colin Bay will go past. Same thing with Juan Rodriguez. Going over onto the East Straight is Crown Jr. Bevillier under fire from Micah Knapp. Knapp now 2 car lengths back at the 1. Fogelman is out, 14:47 off of the gun, 2/10 away from the fastest lap. For Sebastian Palmer, those going to be some much needed 5 bonus points for him as Jaden Russell will come down. Here we go. Lap 58 is when Jaden Russell is coming down. Same thing with Riley Sampson as we see some split strategy from the leaders. I'm liking that strategy for these guys as Dustin Davis will come down as well for GT Daytona. Davis at the line was running in the 7th position. We saw the overcut work in favor of Roberto Crown Jr. Logan Williams is down. 14:31, second stop for the 8 machine. He is out and away. Long way down the pit lane goes the 6 of Logan Williams. I wouldn't be surprised if he tries to take 2 tires here. So everybody coming down. Sebastian Palmer is down, looking to take the 5 points solely away for himself from the 60 to the 59 machine. Cycling back around, Crown Jr. Now 5.5 seconds ahead of Skylar Taylor. As the 2 Daytona cars will separate from themselves just a little bit. Griffin Lynn is off the pit lane, so is Sebastian Palmer. And here comes the GT Le Mans leader. Bavillier will also come down as both leaders for both classes will hit the pits. This is the money stop for both of these drivers. Taylor is down, same thing with the 2. Trying to lead a lap there right at the line. Crown Jr. just barely going to lead that time by. Actually, Stapleton is a lap down. But here we go. Roberto Crown Jr. is in. Monaco is in. Same thing with Skylar Taylor. Crown Jr. now taking right side tires. Where is the 8? Here comes Jaden Russell thundering down the front straightaway. Roberto Crown Jr. off of the gun. Slow stop for Eric Monaco. Here's Zachary Fitzwater able to get around. Jaden Russell with a boatload of momentum. Fitzwater will take the lead, but he has to pit. This is the battle for the race lead. Russell right on the back end of the 33, and here we go. Back for GT Daytona. Easily out front is the 11, and that might be all she wrote as Micah Knapp. A little too far back in the 56, but this is the battle for GT Le Mans. The final stages of this race. Here comes Russell to the inside. Russell down low. Fitzwater just trying to log at least a lap lead. Russell with the preferred line. He's got the warmer tires. And he gets around the 33. Jaden Russell looking for his second win of the season. Gets around Roberto Crown Jr. Taking a look at his pit time. We can find it somewhere. Everybody else will come onto the pit lane. Everything will cycle around. Roberto Crown Jr. now losing time in the 33. Zachary Fitzwater will stay out in the 62. But he has got older tires than everybody else. Russell to second. And that's the gap. 2 seconds between Russell and Crown Jr. Fitzwater just trying to make as many laps as he can here. Out in front. He did come down off strategy. I believe he might have about maybe 15 or 20 laps to the good on tires. On fuel, rather. On tires, he should be able to make it to the end. But still, we got a lot of racing left to go. This race is far from over, folks. But I believe that Fitzwater still needs to come down. You see how much Russell is closing in onto Zachary Fitzwater. And again, not as nearly as much lap traffic as we saw after that first set. Nathan Buchanan, after pitting, like we said, he was going to cycle out to the race lead if we can find the 99 car. There he is, way out front, as battling for the lead. Russell on the fresher tires as Zachary Fitzwater will subside. Big run coming down the front straightaway for Roberto Crown Jr. And here we go. Dogfight incoming between the top 2 in Le Mans. We'll have to watch this battle for Buchanan. Again, Buchanan right now going up into Echo Valley. And right now for the race lead, Roberto Crown Jr. able to take it away from GTLM. He was able to do it going on the inside into turn 2. And Crown Jr. back out front, and he's got 1 lap fresher tires than Jaden Russell. Russell now looking to repay the advantage. Looking to pay him back, rather, next time they go. Those two on top of one another. Russell behind by 2 car lengths. What a run that Roberto Crown Jr. has had in this race so far. It's Nathan Buchanan trying to make it as far as he can go. Again, he came in on lap 47. So lap 77, we should expect this 99 car to come down. I don't know if he's gonna be able to stretch it on fuel. I really, really don't know if he's going to be able to stretch it. Back in here for GT Le Mans. Russell not within striking distance. These two will catch up to Igor Barreto in about 2 laps. That time by Buchanan up through Echo Valley, and just now going through Millstone is the 11. That's about... The thing is, the 11 car is a lap down, so you don't know exactly how far in front the 99 is. But I want to gauge. Actually, we'll grab the phone here. We'll do it at the start-finish line, old school style. Trying to grab it. Get out of here, American Dad. So we'll do the good old stopwatch strategy right at the line. So right at the start-finish line is the 99. Just getting onto the straightaway is the 11. The 8 and the 33 still nose to tail. About a 13-second advantage for the 99, and off track goes the 71. Buchanan punting Logan Alexander out of the way, as Le Mans leaders will catch up to the stricken 14, but that's the gap between the 99 and the 11. 13 seconds is the lead for Buchanan. Can he stretch that much fuel is the question. I don't know. I don't think he's going to be able to. I think this is going to be Bevillier's race to lose. And he's got a lot of Le Mans cars between himself and Micah Knapp. So Bevillier looking to be the first multi-time winner this season in either class. The numbers and the math just don't add up. I don't know why Buchanan tried to go down that way. He's not fighting for championship points. He's all the way down. He's far out of the championship battle. You're just trying to make a strategy for yourself. I get it, as the Le Mans driver leaders get around Barreto. Way wide through the corner once again goes Logan Alexander. He is just barely able to control that 71. And for the lead again, here comes Russell to the inside of Barreto. 21 laps to go in the Long Island Fall Classic. It is still anybody's race. Nathan Buchanan, the dominant driver of the day so far for GT Daytona. But he cannot make it to the end as far as we know. And back up front for GT Le Mans, Jaden Russell, the points leader, who, like it or not, is going to extend his points lead going into Autumn Hill as the odds-on favorite to win the championship. Zachary Fitzwater marred deep in the field. Right now running in 14th, Sebastian Palmer. In 13th, Blaise Zebratar. multiple laps down in the 3. Agiro Sato having issues. Eric Monaco, who currently runs 5th, is going to be the closest competitor to this 8 machine going in Autumn Hill, but we still have a long way to go, and a lot can still happen in 20 laps of action, which is how many these guys have got to cross underneath the start-finish line for the 65th time today under speed. Ooh, and that was nearly a disaster there for Jaden Russell. Trying to get around this 71 car is the 33, and that might be all that Russell needs. Nearly a disaster there as he ran into the very uncontrollable Logan Alexander machine, who was just trying to wrestle that Cobra to the asphalt. Buchanan now under fire from Nathan Ormond. Trying to get around Barretto is the 45. Third right now is the 36, Riley Sampson. A long ways off, but he is going to have a good point today the way the things stand right now. Taylor able to get around the 14. Bavillier now under fire from Monaco. We believe that Bavillier is going to be in the catbird seat to get this race lead for GT Daytona. Next time by, we'll see what the interval is. I don't believe Bavillier is gaining any time. He lost time behind Barretto, I think. Trying to see where he is. So right there at the edge of that strip of asphalt, going into turn 3. Bavillier off of the corner, and he's actually gained 2 seconds on the 99, so Bavillier is coming. He's got the fresher rubber, and he has the gas to make it to the end. We know that as trouble for Dustin Davis in the 72. Heavy rear end damage on the 711-72. Davis with an issue, as that'll put him all the way down in GT Daytona. .13th now for Dustin Davis. And Bradley Ream has pulled it behind the wall. I believe he might have had another incident as Mike Vincent Jr. also with rear end damage. Trying to find the 26. There's a 26 on the pylon. She is currently in, I want to say that's 8th. Yes, 8th place for Dylan Matthews right now as she's under fire from the 8 machine. And there is Nathan Buchanan down onto the pit lane, and we knew he didn't have the gas. Off the jack he goes, 4-tire stop for Buchanan. And that'll put Blake Bavillier out front for GT Daytona with 18 laps to go in the Long Island Fall Classic. And it's still a two-way dogfight between the 8 and the 33 as Russell leads. Roberto Crown Jr. still has the fastest lap bonus locked up, as far as we know, and no Daytona cars within sight of these GT Le Mans leaders. As only 5 cars. Josh Harmon is also pulled behind the wall after that accident with the 16. 36 cars remaining on the track, and 6 cars in the garage area, 3 for each class. Trying to find Bavillier in that 11 car, and he is long ways away from the 56. as Russell just trying to hold off Roberto Crown Jr. as much as he can. Crown Jr. does have 1 lap fresher tires as he is all over the rear end of this 8 machine. Trying to get around him to the inside is Crown Jr. Russell running on rails right now in that U.S. Army 8 machine. Corvette looking to get 2 wins in a row. Toyota looking for their first win ever in the FMGTC. Crown Jr. hasn't had a good season so far, but today has been the dominant car out front and is just trying to get around this 8 machine. So if I'm Jaden Russell, I'm just trying to play it a little safe right now. A long way to go. You're likely going to catch up to the 7, the 3, the 9, and the 4 again. Crown Jr. had an opportunity to the inside, stays tucked in. Now he's got to run. Underneath the start-finish line they go, door to door right at the line. Crown Jr. is going to have the inside lane going into 1. Leaders will be side by side. They got to hold on going through Hanskin. Contact. Russell goes wide. Crown Jr. able to hold on to it. And Roberto Crown Jr. back out front in the 33. And given the fresher rubber that he's got, that might be permanent. Russell looking to get back there in the 8 machine, but Crown Jr. back on the top of the pylon at Bridgehampton. Meanwhile, Michael Brown has gotten around Micah Knapp for 2nd place in GT Daytona. As Felipe Santos has gotten around the 11 machine of Bavillier. Logan Alexander stricken in front of the 64 and the 11 machine. Monaco has fallen back to 5th in the 2 car. Riley Sampson currently up to 3rd. Got a sizable gap between the 8 and the 36, about 5.5 last time by. We'll see if Riley Sampson has caught up to the GT Le Mans leaders at all, but for Roberto Crown Jr., he will lead with 15 laps to go in the Long Island Fall Classic. 1 second behind is the 8 machine as they go into turn 1. Nice and smooth through the corner is Crown Jr., but even better is Russell, and he is not nearly done with this 33 car just yet. 4 3/4 of a second back is the 36, trying to make this a menage a trois at the front of this field. We'll check back in with GT Daytona, and he's been able to get around the 71 is Blake Bavillier. No lap traffic in front of Bavillier with 15 to go. Bavillier has got the best odds of anybody to try to win this race. Michael Brown about 6 seconds behind the 11 car. Bavillier just trying to cruise to victory. He's got wide open space in front of him. He's got a lap car between himself and Brown. But if I'm Brown, I believe he's able to lead a lap today. So that'll be 3rd race in a row where Brown was able to get triple-digit points for GT Daytona. Trying to get around this 56 is Dano Georgi. This is the battle for 6 right now between Georgi and Owen Miles. Georgi will get a car between himself and the 59 machine. And back in the fray is Logan Williams right on the rear end of this 5 car. So GT Le Mans packing it in just a little bit here for the tail end of this Le Mans field between 6th and 10th. Top 5 all pulling away from one another as Russell not letting this 33 car out of his sights with 14 to go. Nathan Buchanan, however, falling back deep in the field for GT Daytona. all the way back in 11th as he tries to get around Connor. Monaco slip sliding through the corner, goes to 99. He's got the freshest rubber of anybody on the field, but it's going to be way too little too late for that 26 machine. Fitzwater trundling around in 13th. Reggie Fogelman will get around Igor Barreto. That is not for position. Logan Williams trying to get back as much as he can, but he's 24 seconds behind the leaders. Heartbreak for Logan Williams, but he's been able to stay in the fight. Trying to stay competitive all day long. He's got a lot of cars in front of him. As now, Michael Brown having to hold off a hulking pack of GTLM cars behind him. Russell and Crown Jr. still on top of one another, but the battle not heating up as hotly contested just yet. As the second place car for GT Daytona just trying to keep pace with Blake Bavillier, but Bavillier's car has been on rails this afternoon. Wrecked out at Old Spice. Had a decent finish at Thornton last month. Looking to be the first multi-time winner this season for the Coors Light Denver Grand Prix winner at DMP. The way that things are looking right now, Blake Bavillier is going to have an incredible chance at trying to be the first multi-time winner in Flowmaster Grand Touring Championship history, especially with Michael Brown under fire from this 84 car. Brown looking to be the first back-to-back winner. He's had a good run today, but it looks like he might just come up a little short in this fight for the championship. Georgia couldn't get around the 25. That's going to open a gap. Here comes Owen Miles to the inside. 4 Lamar cars underneath the blanket as they cross under the start-finish line with 12 to go in Bridgehampton. Logan Williams will get around the 5 car. George I off course through the corner. Brown is wide. He and Miles will come together. They stay straight somehow. Heavy damage from Michael Brown as here comes Logan Williams trying to gain as much positions as he can. Williams to the inside of Miles. This is the battle for 8th right now. And that is pretty much going to seal it as Michael Brown swarmed with GT Le Mans cars all around this 25 car. And Roberto Crown Jr. widening up this gap between himself and Jaden Russell with 11 to go, and I don't know if they're going to catch up to Colin Bear. It's going to need a couple of cars making contact with one another to create some heavy lap traffic. I don't want to say the fat lady is singing just yet, but she might as well be. Logan Williams will move up to 7th for GT Le Mans. Trying to get around this 71 car, and he will. Boot scooting boogieing down to the inside. He'll set his sights on this 11 machine of Bavillier, who is in his own zip code right now. And a 1.5 second lead for Roberto Crown Jr. as he puts on the jets with 11 to go. I got a feeling these guys aren't done wrecking just yet. Again, it has been a wild race so far. Compared to Thornton, it's been quiet. But again, the only relatively uneventful race we've had this season was Mexico, or rather Denver, because Daytona is Daytona. Willow only had a couple of incidents. Papyrus had a couple of cars going around, nothing too major. You know, Denver, I'd say probably the 3 quietest races we've had so far this season have been Denver, Willow, and Papyrus, because Old Spice was insane. Watkins Glen is always crazy as somebody went off in the hairpin. That's a peculiar place for a car to go around. That might be where Dustin Davis went off, actually. But Mosport, it was just the first set of corners, which was crazy, and then the second to last corner with the tire barrier. I mean, Old Spice was just, well, guano insane, and then Thornton is Thornton. So today's race, the start was, of course, crazy, because we knew the start was going to be crazy because the Hong Sin turn exists. But other than that, and then other than just a couple incidents here and there, definitely been a solid race. Not too crazy, not too drab. A solid race as around goes the 14 machine. Dustin Davis trying to get around as Igor Beretta will add some salt to the wound. Same thing for Connor Monaco. Those two drivers just trying to get out of Dodge here. Taking their 9th to final lap. 8 to go as he crosses under the stripe. Rather, this will be 8 to go for Roberto Crown Jr. Still keeping about the same pace with Nathan Ormond. And Colin Bear is within the same frame as a 33. Might catch up to him the tail end of this race. Back here for GT Daytona, Bavillier under fire from Logan Williams. And Bavillier has got a mammoth lead over the next car in line. Michael Brown has dropped back to 3rd. Micah Knapp right now in 2nd. We'll check back and see how the 6 car is able to get around this 11. If I'm Bavillier, just letting him go a little bit. You've got pretty much an 8-second lead over Micah Knapp. You don't need to race this 6 car. It's the last thing you want to do is race the 6. Still going to the outside. Transitioning back to the inside. Can he get a run here? And he will. Villiers is going to have the inside line going on the Eastern Straight, but through the Arden's turn, that's where Williams is going to shine. And through the East Straight underneath Lowenbräu for the 77th time. Williams will get around the 11, and well, if Owen Miles is able to catch up to the 11, that'll make things interesting, but that should be all she wrote. As Ormond has caught up to Colin Bear. Now how much does Bear hold up Ormond? And how does that affect the GT Le Mans leader? Ormond looking for a way to get around Colin Bear. Bear just trying to get to the end here. Tough break for Colin early on in this race, and has had to make several pit stops for repairs in that McDonald's number 9. Ormond might have him going to the inside. No, he's going to tuck back in line. That's going to allow this 33 to catch up a little bit. Ormond just trying to be as aggressive as he can, and he will be. And we might have some more lap traffic than we thought. I think Crown Jr. might. He's definitely going to catch up to Igor Beretta once again. We know that's going to be a fact. Bear goes wide, and Crown Jr. is definitely coming, so the fat lady hasn't sung for GT Le Mans yet. For GT Daytona, I think she's definitely starting to warm up the pipes here for Blake Bavillier. Again, coming into today, 90 points behind Dylan Matthews. Michael Brown, while it's not going to be a win, the way things stand right now, he is still going to get a solid 3rd place finish. John Stewart will get a good top 10 finish as well. He's actually going to get a top 5 finish, the way the things stand. So Dylan Matthews should still have the points lead going in Autumn Hills. But Bear officially on the chopping block. Roberto Crown Jr. trundling around with 7 to go this time by. Coming around to face this 9 car. Rather, this is 6 laps to go for Roberto Crown Jr. I don't know if he's going to catch up to Sato. He's definitely going to catch up to Colin Bear, probably in the next lap. 2-second lead over Jaden Russell. And Russell's only got 4 seconds ahead of Riley Sampson, who's just looking for these guys to end up in trouble. Through the Colasante corner goes Lynn, Zebratar, and Sato. And just exiting Colasante now are the 33 and the 9. And here we go. Up onto the peak goes the 9. The 4, I don't know. I'm going to say for Doomsday's stake that Roberto Crown Jr. is going to catch up to these 4 drivers, because Lynn has been holding up all 3 of these Le Mans cars for the better part of about 3 laps right now. So worst case scenario, Crown Jr. is going to catch up to all 5 of these drivers. So he is not safe by any stretch of the imagination, and you can see the 8 just barely in frame. Can Crown Jr. catch up to the 9 before turn 1? He can. He'll thunder it to the inside. 5, count 'em, 5 laps to go at Bridgehampton, as Colin Bear will secede to the outside of the GT Le Mans leader. Does he try for the crossover? Wide to the corner goes the 33, and in front, Lynn and Sato get together, splitting the gap. There was the 33. Holy Toledo, that was close. Roberto Crown Jr. Those blue and orange pants definitely got a little bit of brown in them after that as we take a look at the replay again. Lynn and Sato coming together, and oh boy, I thought Roberto Crown Jr.'s day was going to end there with 5 to go. But that very well may be a blessing in disguise. It's now Jaden Russell has got to get around 3 lap down cars. Back for GT Daytona. Bavillier just letting the Daytona cars go past him. He doesn't want any of their smoke. But he is quickly losing time to the 56 machine. Now Mike Knapp is within striking distance. He's got a couple of Le Mans behind him. They might try to push him up for this race lead. Back up at the front. 4 laps remain for Roberto Crown Jr. Next trio of cars way out in front. Igor Barreto might be the last lap down car that this 33 machine sees. Russell, he's going to get some laps led, but it might just be too little too late for the 8 machine. I believe that Palmer, Miles, and Paquette should wrap up the fastest pit stops, as Daniel Bouchard has thrown a piston in the 8 car. One more spot for everybody in the back for GT Daytona. But for GT Le Mans, I don't know. I think Barreto is definitely going to be lapped here, and I believe that should be the end of it. Going back for Daytona. This is the witching hour as Dano Georgi has blown up. Georgi with a mechanical failure. To the inside he goes. Fitzwater has gotten around the 56. Now does Palmer try to push the 56? I don't think he is, because Chevy Corvette pushing a Ford to take on a Dodge. Call me crazy, but I don't think that's realistic whatsoever. Russell, only one car between himself and the 33 with 3 laps to go. Barretto now in the crosshairs of this 33 machine. I don't think that the Zebratar is going to be caught up to in time. He's not going to catch up to Orman, certainly not going to catch up to Dustin Davis. And to the inside of Igor Barretto goes the 33, picking him off one at a time is Roberto Crown Jr. And he's gotten around Barretto. He might catch up to Zebra. I believe he is going to catch up to Zebratar with how fast his 33 car is going, with 2.5 laps to go in Bridgehampton. Russell now trying to play defense. He tries to get around this 9 car on the outside. Riley Sampson sensing an advantage, trying to get around these Daytona cars as well, but Lynn holding up the 36. Now Griffin Lynn will go to the inside of Colin Bear. The inside of Bear goes the 36 as well. Skylar Taylor just running a good race here, just trying to get some spots, get some experience for season number 2. But speaking of 2s, sticks high, 2 laps to go in Bridgehampton. Sampson now moves to the inside of Griffin Lynn. Can he get second away from Jaden Russell? Russell 6 seconds back. I don't know if Crown Jr. definitely backing down. Trying to punch in the throttle as much as he can. Russell now under fire from Riley Sampson. It's still going to be a huge points day for Jaden Russell, no matter how you slice it. Orman has gotten around Dustin Davis. Davis way too far in front for the 33 to do anything about it. Crown Jr. backing it down. He is about 3 seconds away from Blaze Zebratar. Back in here for GT Daytona. And it's pretty much over as well. Palmer backing away from the 11 machine. Back up to the Eastern Straight for the penultimate time this afternoon. Underneath Lawn Bra for the 83rd time. 3 miles remain as getting the white flag is Roberto Crown Jr. It's the bell lap for the NOS Toyota Supra, the only Supra in contention for this race right now. Trying to get for second there is the 36 through Hanskin for this final time today. Everybody through nice and easily. Trying to get his white flag lap. There is Bavillier in the 11. But down through the course. Zebratar within striking distance, but just trying to back off as much as possible is the 33. Through the final set of corners. He's within striking distance of Zebratar, but he's not going to try to pass him. Through the hairpin for the final time. Up onto the Eastern Straight. Roberto Crown Jr. trying to come around here. Through the final corner he goes. The crowd roars as for the first time in FMGTC history, a Toyota will take the checkered flag in GT Le Mans. Roberto Crown Jr. wins GTLM at Bridgehampton. Second will be Jaden Russell. Third is Riley Sampson. And coming back here for GT Daytona. Through the light bulb for the final time. Blake Pavillier up onto the Eastern Straight. Making sure everybody rolls off. There is Logan Williams in the 6 car. Pavillier, nice and easily. The fat lady begins to sing, and off the final corner. the first ever multi-time winner in FMGTC history, Blake Bavillier for ABC Supply Co. wins at Bridgehampton. And that'll do it. That will indeed do it. How about that for Roberto Crown Jr. as the 75 is out of gas. And oh boy, doing a little agricultural work there is Roberto Crown Jr. Spinning around. Jaden Russell, wish that happened a lap ago, but Roberto Crown Jr. gets the job done for GT Le Mans. We'll expect this 5 machine of Caleb Rosa come up and congratulate him. The 2 Toyotas getting things done here at the track today. So everybody will roll off. For Jaden Russell, might not be the win, but the big picture is what this man is looking at right now. And he missed the pit lane. Was the 33. He's not going to matter. But for Jaden Russell, he'll come into the pit area. One more victory lap there for the 33 machine. So we'll get your official race standings. Roberto Crown Jr. wins for GT Le Mans. Jaden Russell, Riley Sampson complete your podium for GTLM. Blake Bavillier, Micah Knapp, and Michael Brown, the podium for GT Daytona. A huge points day for Michael Brown. Jaden Russell, second place finish. Led a couple of laps. He's easily going to get 100 in the triple-digit points in that 8 car. Zachary Fitzwater finished 11th. He is going to fall down. In fact, everybody is going to be chasing that number 8 machine. He is going to have a wide points advantage going in Autumn Hills on Thanksgiving Day. And then for GT Daytona, Dylan Matthews able to salvage a 9th place finish for GTD Igor Barreto. The last car is in line. This is a camshaft for Dano Georgi. He'll finish towards the bottom of the barrel for GT Le Mans. John Stewart finishes 4th. He'll gain 25 points over Dylan Matthews. I believe Stewart is going to be 2nd in the points going into Autumn Hills for GTD. Colin Berry, Igor Barreto having issues today as we see everybody that was out of this race. Definitely going to be an interesting dogfight. I think it's really going to be a two-way battle for the next 2 races for GT Daytona between Matthews and Stewart. And then for GT Le Mans, they're all just going to be chasing Jaden Russell after this one. Eric Monaco is going to get a little bit of ground. He's going to lose some ground to Jaden Russell. He was 54 behind the 8, and he's going to lose a little bit more ground there in the 2. But he's going to be the only car within striking distance. I think Russell is probably going to be about 75 in front of everybody. I don't think Monaco led any laps, but again, you all will see this in just a couple of moments here as we go over the points. But that'll do it here from the Bridgehampton Race Circuit. Congratulations once again to Roberto Crown Jr. and Blake Bavillier for winning the Long Island Fall Classic. We'll see you next month over in the Schuylkill County town of Tremont, Pennsylvania for the penultimate race of the 2024 FMGT season, the SPAM Grand Prix of Schuylkill at Autumn Hills, right here on the NASRN Thanksgiving Day at 3 o'clock Eastern, right here on the North American Sim Racing Network. Thank you once again for tuning in to today's coverage of the Flowmaster Grand Touring Championship. Here are your point standings after race 10 of the FMGTC, and from Sag Harbor, New York, on behalf of the North American Sim Racing Network, my name is Trey Wright. Have a great evening, folks.